Hello and welcome to a very, very special episode of CADS. Tonight I'm joined by someone you might know and somebody you're almost guaranteed to know. First up, Norwegian journalist and Spurs mega fan Kjetil. He's been on the show before and you liked him a lot. But there's somebody you're definitely going to know is an absolute legend in goalkeeping circles. 97 appearances between the sticks for his national team, a playing career that took him from his local club to winning the FA Cup with his last professional club. A man that not only influenced young goalkeepers coming through, but also had a hand in moulding some of his country's brightest talents in that position. Now, a pundit on Norwegian TV, and also a proud parent to Norwegian international Christian. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mr. Erik Thorsvedt.
Thank you very much. What an introduction. I'll take it. Thanks a lot for that.
Sure, there is no other way, I think, to introduce you. I mean, absolute legend at the club. I was just telling Kjetil before we got started, when I, Sunday League level, used to play football, my Sunday League goalkeeper, who was a Sunderland fan, if you asked him who his idol was, you were the one that he named. He said he loved the way that you played, the fearless style, just the way you went at everything. I think that just shows the influence you had on people beyond Tottenham Hotspur. So legend in the game as far as
Thank you very much for that. But I think we have to agree that things are always progressing. It's getting better. I think today's team would have absolutely crushed the 91 team, even though we had Gaza and Gary Lineker and everything. And I think the goalkeepers of today are a lot better than I was. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Things are supposed to, progress. And obviously there's lots more demands being put on goalkeepers today, like playing with their feet a lot more. And even more interesting position being in goal now than before.
Yeah, you're a much bigger part of the play now, aren't you?
Yeah, and I think Pep Guardiola was asked, how do you think things will develop, coming years? And he said, well, the goalkeeper being even more an outfield player. So it's going to be interesting to see how that looks. Just right before I dropped dead, that could have evolved quite a bit.
Yeah, we'll start up talking about a little bit about the season that just finished, and of course the beautiful game on Wednesday last week that we finally lifted another trophy. We all know how much you enjoyed it, how much we enjoyed it. Nobody could speak for a couple of days afterwards, but still, as we finished in the actual 17th spot in the league, 38 points, 22 losses. Other clubs have been relegated on more than that. Does the Europa League trophy make this a good and successful season, or what do you think?
Definitely. I mean, trophies are vastly underrated. I mean, this discussion has been there for a long time. Remember Pochettino, which was a great guy and a fantastic manager for us, but he said, trophies doesn't really say anything about the club's progress. It's, where you finish in the league, if you're consistently a top team, if you qualify for Champions League and so forth. But, I mean, you got to win something once in a while, for the Spurs fans, just to experience what happened, in Bilbao. I mean, it's you got to have that once in a while, and we don't expect Spurs is like, we don't expect to win something, every season, every other season. But, to finally, after 17 years, having this, I mean, you can just see how much it meant to people. And for me, that's good enough. If you win a trophy, but it's a strange season. I mean, has any other team had a season like that? 22 losses? It's like, it's ridiculous. I honestly just stopped caring in the end. I didn't really mind. I didn't bother. I mean, it sort of became a habit. But the big prize was there all along, this Europa League thing. And, if Ange would be sacked or whatever's going to happen, he'll be a hero until his dying day. It's you can't take that away from him. He made it happen, and and it was a gritty and good performance as well.
So going on from that, can I guess that you're probably in for the following season? Has he done enough to guarantee a third season in charge?
Yeah, I mean, if like modern, up-to-date club management, he would probably be gone, because they try and take emotions out of football. They try and look behind results. They try and, see, is this sustainable? How can we develop this? And, I think maybe like the Brighton and Brentford owners, they would have said enough. But for me, emotions still count. And for me, I would be sorry to see him leave. And I hope he stays. And I think he's earned the right to stay. And but as I say again, it's an emotional thing. And the Man United had the same situation. Last summer, won the FA Cup. Ten Hag, stay, go. Well, he stayed, and it didn't last long. So I think fans, even though they love Ange, I think if it starts off really badly from August and on, then I think the patience is going to be pretty thin, I think.
Yeah. You talked a little bit about the keeper role here, but we have to talk about the goalkeeper status. Vicario has actually come under a lot of criticism. He is prone to errors, of course. He's got the strong side, he's got the weak sides. Is he good enough? Is he the man for the job going forward? Will he get better in commanding the field of play outside of his area?
When he first arrived, I'd actually been to watch him play in Italy when he played for Empoli, but I wasn't really aware of him. They just played my son's team, so I was there watching. So I was a bit surprised when I saw that Spurs got him, but and brought him to the club. But I mean, when he came, he was sensational. Honestly, the saves he did was like, I couldn't hardly believe it. I mean, he was so good. It was like, wow. And obviously, there's other things that sort of come into his game. But for me, as a goalkeeper, it's very hard to criticize other goalkeepers, because I mean, I've been there. I made so many mistakes, and I think you need to put faith in him, and he's got things to work on. But I'm sure they do that every single day. There's one little tiny bit where I would actually criticize Vicario, and that is his strange habit of having a real go at his defenders when things go wrong. And it's like they know they made a mistake, and sometimes it just feels it's a little bit for show. It's a little bit to show the spectators that I really care. But imagine if you would reverse it. If when he makes a mistake, all these defenders would run up to him and yell in his face. I mean, that would be really strange, wouldn't it? I remember particularly with Bergvall when I think he played his first match from the start. He made a mistake out by the byline. They got a chance from it. They didn't score, but as a young kid, but as he should be left alone in that situation, I think. But as a goalkeeper, yes, I'm 100% behind Vicario. That little niggle there, which I just mentioned, is just a tiny little thing, but I think it's a relic from times that has been, and I know a lot of fans actually believe that it means that you care, but it doesn't. I mean, it's just a thing, a show-off thing, and people, when they make mistakes, they know that they made mistakes. They don't have to have a goalkeeper yelling in their face to tell them about it.
Right, and you see other goalkeepers that are worse. Actually, I think Jordan Pickford is much worse than that. He yells and screams all the time, even when nobody makes a mistake. So
yeah, but he does it more like, I feel he does it like out in the open air, like in general, just has a massive open air moan, while Vicario is very specific, about his attacks, what did you do there, and stuff like that. And but as I said, I mean, some of the saves he's done since he came to the club, absolutely incredible. But so one of the problems with the season that Tottenham has had is that letting in goals becomes a habit. Losing becomes a habit. As a goalkeeper, letting in a goal should be like some kind of a crisis. What just happened? But when it happens so frequently as it's done this season, it's a danger that the goalie sort of it happens too often, and they need to close shop again. That's for sure. And hopefully that will happen. And maybe they found a new way also to play this Europa League final kind of a display. That was the kind of match that Ange
Different.
doesn't like, he hates, and but they won, and that's fair enough.
Yeah.
But I remember he had this strange thing where they played Fulham away and they won, and he was asked afterwards, well, you played a bit differently. You had a lower block. You tried to stay compact and not be on the offensive all the time. And he was like, he was not having it. It was like, they were too tired to play the way I wanted. Well, you actually won 2-0.
Yeah.
You should be happy. No, they didn't do the way I wanted it to. So, but I mean, you got to be, I think that's a fair criticism. You need to be flexible. You need to be able to have plan A, B, and C. When he says there is no plan B, mate, that's a good quote. And it's, I love the guy, but you need to have a bit more flexibility, and you need to have more, ways of playing. And hopefully we will see development there.
I think we will, yeah.
Yeah, the end of the season, you could definitely see that. I mean, Tottenham can get stuck in as well if they want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now and I wanted to just mention that we actually have two really good goalkeepers. Now, I am so impressed with what Kinski has done also. He's a young keeper. He's not as good as Vicario, but what he is really good at is passing. Oh my goodness, he's good with his full feet. So we have really strong couple of goalkeepers actually now.
Yeah, I was when he first arrived, he was just thrown straight in. Normally you have a period where you have to sort of adapt and everything, but he was thrown straight in and he did really well. And then the first mistake came, and people, it's nowadays, it's tougher now than when I played, because social media, the mistakes are being played over and over again. You get slaughtered. So, but as you say, he's really young, and he's really got potential. And yeah, I'm happy with the goalie situation.
Yeah. And now we actually, from 17th spot in the league, we now have Champions League play next season.
Yeah.
Much better chance of keeping certain players. And we have, maybe, if the owners want to, we have some cash to splash. So the thing is, I think we really need to strengthen the squad overall, because if you're going to play Premier League and do better, and play Champions League and do well there, you're going to have more players on a higher level than we have today. Not that saying that the first team players today are bad or not good enough. I like them, most of them, but we need more of them. Actually, I think we need a little bit broader squad. Should they? What do you think? Should they look for specific positions, or should they look for maybe? I think a little bit more experienced guys now, maybe just to bolster up.
Yeah, but I mean, the youngsters, they have more experience now, so they will probably improve and get even better. And there are some good young players there. We also saw in that one Europa League match where they had these three youngsters scoring all the goals. That they are
so fun.
So
what a game.
people coming up. So obviously, every fan always want more and better players. That's just the way it is. Some people actually enjoy this part of the season more than the actual season, when they get to speculate about all the players coming in and what they're going to do. And it's always, we need to spend some money now. And I've got a respect for that you have to run the club on a sustainable basis. And they have used quite a bit of money. But I think you won't have the same injury season again. I don't think that would be like a totally freakish thing if that would happen again. But obviously, now Champions League, if we want to do well in the Champions League, I think you're right with maybe just like even more, so we can rotate even more. You know, we have the Champions League final coming up with Inter Milan, who just lost out on the Serie A title to Napoli. And Inter has played 15 more matches than Napoli has done. And that's the whole difference. That's the 1 point difference between the two sides, you know. Those 15 matches, they take a toll. And but I'm not, I haven't got like specific names. What you always also have to do is that you got to clear out some players. You know, we always talk about buying, but there are some people there that, I mean, it doesn't work. It hasn't worked out. Just moving them along. It's better for the club. It's better for the players, and they need to sort of make a good, stack of the situation and the player logistics side of it is hugely important to build a good squad. And but there are some players there that maybe it's better that they play somewhere else, because they've had many chances at Tottenham and it hasn't worked out. But there are still quite a few there that I wouldn't hesitate to put in the team. There's like, I don't know, for me, there's like 18 players there who are, very good players. I think at least 18 players, and that's quite a lot. So, and we like Jed Spence, who was totally out of it, suddenly came back in, and he was able to start and play really well, So Johnson, obviously, did he get that goal in Bilbao or what?
Oh, he did, yeah. He did touch it.
So credited to him.
Yeah. I can't believe he got that goal. It's a clear own goal, isn't it? He knocked it with his hand. I don't know. It's doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Yeah, there's.
It matters to Shaw.
Sorry.
It matters to Shaw.
Shaw did not want it. There is no way Shaw wanted it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So but as I say, it's. I actually hate a little bit this silly season kind of a thing, because 95% of every single speculation doesn't happen, and it's like, it's just an endless story of names being thrown out and recirculated and this and that. So, but something will happen, and it always does. And I think Ange, having been there now in 2 seasons, if he's going to continue, which I believe he will, then obviously you've got to back him in his opinion as well. And I'm sure there's players there who will give thumbs up or thumbs down for.
Okay, so having had what many of us would term a successful season, despite our league placing, who would you say would be the player of the season for you? Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think, did Bagwell get all the official ones? Did he?
Oh, yeah.
He got young supporters player of the season. I think he got official club supporters player of the season.
He got all 3 of them,
yeah. All 3 of the major awards, yeah.
But I mean, Kulusevski was really good in the beginning. Then he got injured. I think the guy who's been there the whole time, Porro, has had a good season.
Oh, I knew we were going to get on.
Yeah,
you and I on the Pedro Porro train. I thought Pedro Porro's been consistently good. He had a little dip, but just because he'd been played so often, but he powered through. And I thought, over the course of the entire season, he was probably our most important player.
Yeah, and I think Bentancur has had his problems since he came. You know, when Ange took over, it was Sarr and Bissouma that was like the pairing in the middle there, and they were so good. And they somehow it doesn't work as well anymore. But Bentancur has he's earned my admiration for that. For me, I thought racism is very very difficult, but I thought that was a very strange decision to have him banned for that. But fair enough, that's the way it works. But he's come through all that, and he was vital now for everything that happened towards the end of the season.
Okay.
Total silence there. That means you don't agree on this one. Total silence.
I think there were issues around the whole thing. Obviously, I think it was a joke that was made in poor taste, and probably found the audience it deserved. It didn't really work out very well. But I also felt it was badly handled on the Spurs side of things because they actually appealed the decision. And I think it would have been better if they just said, okay, we will accept decision and move on. I thought just as a PR standard type of things, I didn't think it was particularly good. But I mean, I've not been an executive at a football club, and you have, so I might just defer to you on that one.
Yeah, I know. It's very once you get into these things, and I mean, there are quite a few players that has been done now, and I don't think it's always I'm not a racist, but I don't think any of them has actually meant anything racist by it. At least not in this case. I'm pretty sure of that. So, but it's difficult. It's very very difficult to talk about these things. And the league has the standard it has. So, but for him, I thought it was very unfortunate to be in that situation. I thought so.
Yeah, I think it's just difficult with the modern game that everything is televised, everything is recorded, and if you make one comment that could be deemed slightly off color, the rules are so explicit that there is a minimum of, I think it was a minimum of a 6-game ban. Just did you say it? Yes. Okay, then it's a 6-game ban. That's the way it worked.
Yeah, but would it have been the same
crap.
if someone else had said it about someone else? I'm not so sure. If someone had said it about Kulusevski, would it have been deemed racist?
Oh, yeah. It depends
Hard
what would have been
question.
said. I mean, it's not. I'm not a legal scholar, so it's not my area of expertise. I'll be honest. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to go back a little bit beyond that one. I'd like to take you back to the 1991 FA Cup final, something that was marked by two fairly rare things. First of all, an early sending off, and secondly, a Gary Lineker missed penalty. Now, you obviously featured in that game and were involved in the preparation, in the game itself, and then also the open bus parade afterwards. How did you think the game went? How did it all go leading up to that? And how would you compare what you had back in 1991 against what we saw last week?
Yeah, there wasn't actually an early sending off. It was like an early injury for Gaza.
Sorry, it should have been a sending off, really. Yeah, early
Yeah,
injury, 15 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's the club was in crisis at the time financially, so and we didn't know that much about it. But I remember I was at White Hart Lane. We had a small indoor gym, like a astroturf, plastic turf, and I was there doing some work on my own. And Peter Barnes, the club secretary at the time, he came around with people looking at the facilities. Should we buy this? So and it was for me. We had this thing called a players' pool, which was like a weird thing. It was like basically, how can we make as much money from this as possible for the players? And the club at the time was like, we got away with everything. The club was, I think they were a bit afraid, scared of the players because of losing the dressing room or player power or whatever. So going to Wembley, we had a bus that was advertised with stuff that advertising sold by the players.
Oh, wow.
And we had a press conference thing at the training ground before the FA Cup final, and the players pool decided that we shouldn't talk to journalists that didn't pay us, which is like, I don't know, it's like very strange. So it was like on top of trying to concentrate and do well, it was like also, as I said, a money-making exercise for the players. And we also had this strange thing with the kit before the match, because we had Hummel, and Hummel hadn't fulfilled their obligations. So basically, the club, before the final match that was going to be played with Hummel, they said, well, we could just skip it because they haven't fulfilled their obligations. We could just play with the next kit that was Umbro, was it? Or Nike? I can't even remember what it was. Anyways, but the big question was like, will it jinx it if we change the strip? That's the kit that has taken us all the way to the final is the Hummel kit. So I remember Venables asked us players, what do you think? Should we just ignore the ones that have not fulfilled their obligations, or shall we just go with a new kit? So we ended up with that. So it was the first time we actually wore that kit when we ran out to Wembley onto the turf, and we had this new, quite long shorts that went almost down to the knees. That was like a new thing, and the match itself, with Gasser being hyped up. He was that hyped up also in the semi, I would say, but then he scored this incredible free kick against David Seaman. So
we do remember it, yes.
He had some steam let out of him in that way, and but here he was like overhyped, and things, he got injured. They scored from the free kick, and we missed the penalty, didn't we? I think we did, didn't we?
Yeah. Gary Lineker. Well,
yes.
It was
so
saved.
it was like the feeling that everything was going against us. But we kept plugging on, and when it went to extra time, I think there was this famous thing when Brian Clough tried his special kind of man management. He didn't leave his seat. He just sat there while the players sort of got ready to play the extra time, and Terry Venables was there like giving instructions, and it paid off, and it was like incredible. If we'd known it'd be a long time before Spurs would win anything quite as big again, then obviously we would maybe have appreciated it even more. We thought we're going to do it again next season. So, but the feeling is like something they can never take it away from you. It's always in your heart. You've been there, been part of it. And then also it's this, I mentioned it a couple of times, that we humans are often, taught to look ahead, look onto the next one. What has been, has been. And it took me a while before I sort of made myself, tolerated myself sitting down, enjoying it, thinking about it, feeling a sense of pride of having been part of it. So, but I'm there now. Now I'm just think it's great. I think it's incredible to have this small place in the Spurs history, and having been part of that team, which is quite a legendary team, to be honest, with Gasser and Lineker and everyone, and great stuff to have been part of that.
And I mean, obviously, you joined the club in 1988 when it was still under the chairman Irving Scholar and a League One club. What changes did you see in your time at the club? What were the changes in the professionalism from going from Scholar to Sugar? What were the changes in the players? And what are the changes in the modern game, so to speak?
I remember when I was there when they were going to introduce the Premier League, when we went from Division 1 to the Premier League.
Yeah.
And I remember the club told us it's not going to make a difference, take it easy, it's no big deal, it's just a name change. But obviously in the long run, it'd be a really, really big change. But with obviously with Alan Sugar coming in, suddenly it was I don't know, it just got ran in a different way. I think there's some famous story about him being told that some money was needed in a brown bag to be delivered in a petrol station somewhere. I don't know if that's true, but I think he got a bit shocked by how football was run at the time. And so he tried and steadied the ship and fell out with Terry Venables, which was like a big shame and all of that. But I think I've been to Germany for a couple of years, and I have to say that it was more professionally run in Germany. Like just we didn't really train to become better. We trained just to keep going until Saturday at 3 o'clock, because then when that's when it happens. And I just admire the English like fighting spirit. I've seen teammates, actually banging their heads on the concrete wall in the dressing room, just to get ready. And I don't know, they could be so relaxed before the match, and nothing, just joking and fooling around. Suddenly, getting into the dressing room after the warm-up, like turning on the switch, boom. And it was incredible to see that. I think that's a little bit the whole. I think often that football sort of reflects a bit the nation's culture, and I think it's a bit of the British culture during the war, being bombed, World War II. Well, keep calm and carry on, So, but in Germany we got weighed every day. They watched what we ate and what was being drunk and stuff like that. And it was very, very relaxed in England. And I think it needed a bit to shaking up. And I think there came in a few, I don't know if I'm allowed to mention his name, but there was a French guy in a smaller club in London, manager, who made a big difference, I think, made a big impact. And I think in many ways, I think English football, because I have to be honest, they had this 1966 thing where they just thought that, well, we are the best, and this expectation that the national team, of course, they're going to win. And they never did. But it was like, I don't know, it's just a strange thing. But the pace and the determination and the work rate out on the pitch from the players, and just so many actually, naturally born good football players. This was before the academies came up, where everyone is churned through the same system, and many say everyone comes out almost the same. This was just, I guess it was just an extremely naturally gifted player, It's just a work of nature. So it was, it was an experience. And I have to say there was two clans at Tottenham. It was the crazy gang, and then there was the sensibles, and somewhere like a foot in every camp. But some of the stuff that went on was just, it was incredible. How this could actually work.
Is it really true?
Sorry,
is the stories true? Are they true?
But and some of the stories can't be told even. So, but I think it sort of lived a bit up to this Tottenham image that, okay, we don't have it to be good over a whole season, but we will raise our game for the cup matches. We got skillful players. We play good football at times, but in the end, others will have more points when you tally up at the end of the season.
But
So
who was
obviously,
worst?
hold
Who
on.
was the worst? Was it Paul Walsh or was it Gaza?
I think I would say Steve Sedgley actually.
Steve Sedgley.
Yeah,
That's a new one actually.
I've
yeah,
never
because
heard
Yeah,
stories of
cool.
Steve Sedgley taking an ostrich to training or anything like that. So
yeah, no, but it's like Gazza could get Sedge to do anything, and I mean
All
anything.
right.
So he would like take any dare, and he would just do it. And it was like I I, I think we played Sheffield United or something away, and I was on a someone jumped on my nose, so I broke my nose and I was bleeding and stuff like that. And on the table in the bus in front of me, there was like all of these bloody tissues that like, and Seth just passed by and just ate them.
That's one way of doing it, I guess.
Okay.
But really
Oh.
nice guy, and he still worked at Tottenham, I think, match days and stuff like that. So, yeah, Sedge was he was crazy, but he was like a really nice fella.
So he was definitely in the crazy side. I'm guessing Gary Mabbott was in the more sensible side.
Yes, very
Oh,
much
Yeah.
so. I
I
remember
had drank beer.
we had sorry.
I drank beer with Gary Mabbott in summer '97, so he wasn't that nice, was he? He had a couple stories to tell. He do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember we had a Christmas party at Planet Hollywood in central London, and it evolved into a food fight, and uh, a couple of days after that in the training ground, suddenly there was two Planet Hollywood jackets, one for Gary Mabbott and one for me. As thanks from the restaurants trying to sort that mess out, trying to
Okay.
apologize to the other guests and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So yeah, keeping everyone in order.
Yes.
Yeah, Viking style. All right. So obviously, your playing career ended. You handed off the reins to Ian Walker. I've read a few quotes of what you were saying towards the end of your time, where you're saying about you wanted to have like a collegiate atmosphere, a camaraderie, and you didn't want to have anything where it was one against the other. It was very much a team pushing forward. I thought that was a really interesting way of looking because it's not always that way in clubs. But after you retired, you then went back to Norway and you worked with the Norwegian national team with the young goalkeepers there. But also, interestingly, you went back to Viking and became director of football. Is that right?
Yeah, I was there just for a season. As a footballer, I would say you are pretty spoiled. You live quite a good life,
Mm.
because even though I always was a hard trainer, I went to a local gym where I lived. I always did some extra work and stuff like that. Still, there's quite a few hours where you're pretty much on your own. And I mean, normal training week was like one match, 4 trainings, never twice a day, never. Well, only preseason. So it was like we didn't train that much, to be honest. But then quitting football and starting like a proper job and like a sporting director job, you can work 24 hours a day. I mean, it's never ending. It was quite a bit of a shock to the system to suddenly be in that role. And I don't know. There was some stuff that happened, and I mean, this was the time when Rosenborg. I don't know if you remember, but they were in the Champions League every single season. Like I
Yeah.
think it was like 13 years on the trot or something, and they were really hard to. They had a really good side, were wealthy compared to all the Norwegian sides and stuff like that. So, yeah, I just quit after a year because I thought maybe not. So I left, not a sinking ship, but I mean maybe it wasn't ideal, but I felt like I can't handle this. It's too much work, too much going on.
And then into the media and punditry, and still a bit of
Yeah.
that going on, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it feels a bit pathetic to squeeze the old lemon still after all these years. I thought maybe when I stop playing, I'll do something completely different. And here I am, all these years later, I'm still doing the same thing. But as long as you enjoy it, and I really enjoy it, like tomorrow I'm going off to the Champions League final in Munich. From there, I'm going to Florence in Italy. I'm going to be 5 days with the Italian national team. Just follow them before they travel to Norway to play Norway on the 6th of June. So, yeah, I can't complain. I think that's quite pleasant to do.
And obviously with your son, Christian, now playing for Sassuolo, I'm guessing you get to spend a fair bit of time in Italy nowadays.
Yeah, we actually had a summer place down there even before he moved to Italy. So now we got his place and our place. So, and my wife speaks Italian, and it's we spend a lot of time down there, and it's great quality of life. I think my son plays with a Italian national team player called Berardi. I think he scored a penalty in the shootout against England at Wembley in the Euros. I know he's had offers from Tottenham before, but these Italian players, they don't want to leave home. Their life is too good there. The food, the climate, everything. So, yeah.
And Christian was given the chance to go to Tottenham. What would his answer be?
I mean, he is die-hard Spurs fan. I mean, he is
good lad, good lad.
Really, and he actually had a good time because he's played against quite a few ex-Spurs players in Italy, and he always gets their shirts, always. So he's got a big collection of Italian shirts worn by ex-Tottenham players. So yeah.
All right, Kieto, I think leave you to have the final word on this. I think.
Yeah, I would like to just finish up this one with a little bit of national team talk. What's your thinking about the upcoming Norwegian national team matches?
Yeah, I'm optimistic, but we're playing Italy now, and it's tough. I saw someone saying we'll beat them 5 times out of 10. I don't believe that. I mean, go through the team. It's maybe not the best Italian team ever, but it's a good team. And but at home, the problem is for me is that some say, oh, the Inter Milan players will be knackered, and there's quite a few of them in the national team because they have to play the Champions League final. I think the problem is more if you haven't played. Quite a few of the Norwegian players, they haven't played almost any football for a long time. And that's more of a problem. And trying to get into match shape, and some of them are like not playing much in the club teams, and some of them have had holiday. The club matches stopped a while ago and stuff like that. So it's a bit of a challenge. But I've been in the studio so many times, being optimistic, trying to hype the Norwegian team, and been let down so many times that I'm sort of a bit cautious now. But we've been good in the 2 first qualification matches, so yeah, let's hope we keep it going.
Let's hope that. Okay, thank you so much for agreeing to joining us on this talk today, Eric. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
It was an absolute pleasure. Come on, you Spurs!